Hello all, and welcome to the Pro Bowl edition of the Citizen NFL podcast.
Don't tell Shira that. He'll get fired up.
What's wrong? No Dolphins in the Pro Bowl this
No, there
year?
are. There's a couple.
Yeah.
Well, soon to be former Dolphin.
Replacement Pro Bowlers?
Yeah, Jarvis Landry was a replacement. But I don't care.
Anyway, hi, I'm Justin Ritzel. As you've heard, that's Chris Sciria. Robert Harding's here as well.
I'm healthy, by the way. That was a fake cough.
The usual trio. Obviously there's no real games this upcoming weekend. We're not going to talk about the fake football game because, come on.
There was a time.
Nobody cares about that.
There was a time when the Pro Bowl actually was like a real game. I mean, it really was. They actually played hard. They tried to win, and I mean, it was like a real game. And it's changed over the years, and now it's basically like.
And then these soft millionaires.
No, I'm not saying that. I think that the league got afraid of players getting hurt, which is understandable. And I think the players were like, who cares? I mean, free trip to Hawaii, sure. Now that it's on the mainland, it's like,
Yeah, I'll say.
At least we get the skills competition. Could see wide receivers try and catch footballs from drones 100 feet in the air, which I guess is whatever.
I hope these guys have got skills. They're in the NFL after all, so.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so last weekend was championship weekend. I think one game, the winner was, as we all expected. It may have been closer than many expected, but the New England Patriots, once again, are AFC champions.
With a little luck on their side.
Thanks a lot to, once again, a very weak conference, weak division.
Yeah.
They beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 24-20. The Jags led throughout most of this game. Was there ever any doubt in your mind, either of you, that the Patriots were going to find a way to win the game?
It's not like the Patriots find a way to win. It's more like the other team finds a way to lose, and the Patriots just take advantage. So, I mean, you could say it in both ways, to be honest. I mean, look, New England had to drive down the field and get the touchdowns and everything, but you got to admit, Jacksonville did some things that you're like, why would you do that? You know, what are you doing? It's like, are you trying to help out New England? So
Welcome to the Marone Hackett era.
yeah,
Enjoy.
yeah. Well, thankfully, I'm not a Jaguars fan, so I can't curse at them. But irregardless, I mean,
Best team in Florida. What do you mean?
that's not saying much when you're competing against the Buccaneers and the Dolphins. Okay, I mean, it's
At least
Well,
you're honest.
exactly. That was the joke.
yeah, I know. Ha ha ha.
Two of us thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I'm roaring over here.
Yeah, he's practically on the floor right now, rolling over in laughter.
Kind of like the Dolphins rolled over this season, am I right?
Oh, wow.
Ooh, wow.
Hey, Packers.
Come on, yeah, bring it on.
Come on, man.
Yeah. We're missing our best player,
Come on.
and we
Hold
still
on,
had
hold
a better record than the
Hold on.
Dolphins.
Hold on. You want to know what's funny? You want to know who's your offensive coordinator now? Yeah, Joe Philbin. Now that makes me laugh. Ha ha ha.
Well, I mean, if you look at Joe Philbin's track record with actual talent on his team,
Wow.
the offenses do pretty well.
Wow. Touche. Can't respond to that one, can I? We'll see how it goes this year, though. We'll see.
I'm sure they'll be just fine.
Yeah.
Elite.
Okay. So, I mean, Rob Gronkowski gets knocked out of the game in the first half. Obviously, Julian Edelman's he's been out for the whole year. Brady's throwing Brandon Cooks, who's good, but he's being covered by two very good Jacksonville corners. I mean, I don't know. I thought the Patriots were going to struggle to move the ball after that point because they kind of were up, through most of the first half. What did you think?
Yeah, it wasn't looking good for them. Especially after Deion Lewis's fumble, because Belichick, as Belichick is prone to do, he's got to put the fumbler in the penalty box, and so Lewis is out for several series, and they had James White to lean on. I think Burkhead played, but didn't really see the field much later on. So, Brady didn't have a whole lot to throw to, and so it was really James White, Danny Amendola, and Cooks when Cooks was open. So, that's Brady though. He makes lemonade out of lemons. So
Speaking of Tom Brady, did you notice what he did in a certain situation? QB sneak. Tom Brady.
Here we go.
Tom 40-year-old Brady.
I'll just sit back and
does
watch
a QB sneak.
This is the Shearer versus Ritz
He can do
part two.
He can do a QB sneak, but Ben Roethlisberger. Oh no, we don't want to get Ben hurt.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry, man.
Because Brady's on steroids. Why do you think he's playing so well?
You don't look it, man. I think he's doing something. I don't think he's taking steroids. I mean, look, he could be taking some other type of magic potion or something that prevents him from getting sore and feeling pain like a typical 40-year-old does. Okay,
Please, he's drinking water.
Robert knows what that's like. But irregardless, he did a QB sneak. I'm telling
Chris, how many points did the Patriots defense give up?
Let me think here. What was it, 20?
20 points. How many did the Steelers defense give up?
Oh, they gave up 45.
So why are we talking about a QB sneak?
Because they could have won the game if they'd done QB sneaks. Because on those plays,
they could have won the game if their defense wasn't terrible.
Right, but the thing is, they could have actually maybe they would have scored more points, and Jacksonville would have scored less points.
Okay, the point is, why are we making out Todd Haley to be the scapegoat
Well, now he's
when
in Cleveland.
his side of the ball
Right.
did their job?
His punishment is he gets fired and he gets hired by the Browns, which is literally career suicide. I'm just saying, look, QB sneak. That's it. If you got third and short, fourth and short, QB sneak. End of story. Move on.
Okay. So we'll wrap up on the Jaguars really quick. Well, first off, I'll say, a lot's been made this week about the referees favoring the Patriots. I was talking to Chris about this last night. I mean, I don't buy that. Although you can't totally rule it out
Because you're not a Bills
fan. Because we know in pro sports, you look at the NBA. As I said to Chris, we did have a ref who was doing that kind of stuff, favoring teams. So you can't say it's impossible.
No.
I think it's super, super unlikely. I wouldn't believe it. But I will say the turning point for me was the fumble that you brought up, Robert, because it's inexplicable that the refs blew that play dead.
Yeah.
Because Miles Jack strips the ball, recovers it. It's a clear recovery. And guess what? He's off to the races, and that's a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they basically...
And that's the ball game, too.
Yeah, I think they go up by 17 at that point. I mean,
that would have been the ball game.
in the fourth quarter. So, obviously the Patriots have come back from a lot, but I think that was the play that really decided that game. Because once Jacksonville they went 3 and out after that, it's like, they're still letting New England hang around.
Yeah.
So
we can certainly do our state of officiating after the season, but I just don't know how many moments like that we can have until they decide to let the play go.
And that's,
there is no clear.
That's what they're told, which is why they went against what is normally done, which is normally they let the play go.
Yeah.
Let it play out, and if since it's a turnover, we can review it. But
right.
They just decided we're gonna blow this one dead because why not?
And it's gotten better over time, but to me, in that situation, it's the most glaring example of you've got to let the play out. It's not over, and there was nothing about that play, both in real time and on replay, that indicated to me that a person with the ball was tackled down and it should be blown dead. I just I see the ball come out. The guy's got it. He clearly wasn't touched, and he gets up and takes off. But they say, it was blown dead. You can't advance the ball. But they gave him the fumble. So
yeah, it was ruled a fumble on the field,
right,
in real time.
So to me, that was a bit that was just a blown call on their part, and we could be talking about a whole entirely different Super Bowl. But hey, the NFL had its way, and here we are.
So-
I'm feeding the conspiracy theorists because I think it's hilarious.
I think it's fair to say that in terms of a roster from player 1 to player 53, the Jaguars are one of the most talented rosters in the league.
Especially on defense.
However, I think it's fair to say with an average quarterback maybe in that game, they win. Blake Bortles, for the most part, has not been even an average quarterback during his career. Guys, if you're looking ahead to 2018, you're the Jaguars. Do you run it back with Blake Bortles, or are you looking for other options?
Good question. I think some of it's contract related. I think the 5th-year option is part of this too. So I think that's going to play a role in it. I think, look, Blake Bortles maybe didn't play great in the last game, but he played pretty good for the majority of the season, and I think you owe it to him to bring him back as the starter. Now, do you draft somebody? And do you draft somebody? That's a possibility. I wouldn't be against it. I mean, we've seen teams that have had established starters draft another quarterback, and to me, it's just smart because you're hedging your bets. What if Bortles gets hurt next year? You don't know. So I think if the Jaguars are smart, they look at what they need to improve upon, and it seems like they're pretty good with the running back and their defense. Maybe they look at a wide receiver in the draft, and then maybe in the later rounds, 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, maybe then they look for a quarterback. Just as a precaution. I mean, Chad Henne's their backup. Trust me, he ain't gonna do anything. So,
Former Dolphin, for those of you not in the know.
yeah.
Obviously. No, I think they need to go in a different direction. This team has too much talent on it to waste time on Blake Bortles, who at best is a backup in this league. He showed some flashes of brilliance early on, but clearly isn't going to be the answer for them at quarterback. You look at his playoff performance. Yeah, he played pretty well against Pittsburgh. For whatever reason, Pittsburgh had just a terrible defensive showing that day. But you look at the Bills game, he was terrible. And you look at the Patriots game, and he was average. He had some good moments in that game, made some decent throws at times. But when it came down to it, when they needed him to make a play, on multiple drives, he did not make a play. And even Joe Flacco could have made a play. Blake Bortles didn't make a play.
I'll tell you this: if Jacksonville's real, if they really are serious about changing quarterbacks, and that's their decision to make, they may not want to. But I'll tell you, if I'm Jacksonville, I go after Kirk Cousins.
I think if you're a lot of these teams that need a quarterback, you should look at him.
To me, it's like if you have all this talent and you get to the AFC Championship game. I mean, I think a rookie quarterback is not the way to go if you really want to get past Blake Bortles. I mean, if Blake Bortles is your short-term answer, then yes, draft a quarterback and develop him. But if you're like, hey, look, we're one step away from the Super Bowl, and if we have a very good quarterback, we can get there, then to me, you go after Kirk Cousins. Because he's going to be the best free agent quarterback on the market. To me, you go after him hard, and you get him in there, and to me, that says, hey, we're serious about getting back and getting to the Super Bowl now.
It doesn't necessarily have to be Kirk Cousins. I mean, Alex Smith is going to be available too, and I think he'd be, despite his limitations, he'd be a major upgrade from Blake Bortles. Robert, I'm with you. I thought, statistically, in the first half, Blake Bortles was outplaying Brady.
Yeah.
I mean, he's playing against a way worse defense, but he played a really good first half, and I kind of thought they ran out of plays, and then in the second half they're kind of playing with one arm tied behind their back.
And it's almost like you blame Nate Hackett on Bortles' performance in the second half, or having something to do with it. Maybe if the plays were different, maybe Bortles might have played better. You never know.
So yeah, I would definitely say they need to explore their options for next year. We won't spend too much time on the NFC Championship because that was a total
dog game.
That was a total blowout. The Eagles are very happy it was a dog game since they've kind of adopted the dog as their mantra.
Indeed.
Yeah. So I guess I forget who did you guys have? Eagles or Vikings?
I had Eagles.
Me too.
Are you guys buying? Nick Foles?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I mean, that was a pretty damn good game against a pretty darn good defense. I mean, I don't know whether it was a fluke or not. We'll find out pretty soon. But, I mean, that Vikings defense was pretty damn good, and Foles made it look pretty darn bad. So, yeah, I mean, it's an amazing performance. And you wonder, people were worried about Foles coming in for Carson Wentz. I mean, it just seemed like, hey, all Foles needed was just a couple weeks to shake off the rust, and then Frank Reich, former Bills backup quarterback legend, calling the plays, getting the right plays for Foles here. So, like I said, this guy only, 2-3 years ago, had 2017, he passes 2 INTs for the whole season. I mean, he's no bum. I mean, you don't do that in the NFL by accident, okay? You got to have some ability to have a season that good. So, I believe in him. I'll tell you, he's made a difference, no doubt about it. The Eagles would not be in the Super Bowl if it wasn't for Foles. Absolutely.
I think one thing that should scare Patriot fans is that he's starting to build a rapport with Alshon Jeffrey. Because when Foles first got inserted into the lineup, they didn't really have a connection there. But that NFC Championship game, they're playing the Vikings, Xavier Rhodes. They've got a solid secondary on that team. And, Foles, not only to Jeffrey, but, hitting all of his receivers, Zach Ertz, and, the list goes on. He played very well. Granted it was at home, but he played very well against a top 5 defense, and that should scare them because the Patriots, secondary as good as play that Stephon Gilmore had. Even a broke clock is right twice a day, so good for him. But
bitter grapes.
But hey, he can play on national TV now.
And he is.
But between Butler and Gilmore, they have their flaws, and I think a quarterback of Foles' caliber, he's not Brady, he's not Rodgers, but he's still a good quarterback. Certainly better than Blake Bortles. We can say that much. I think he will have success against the Patriots defense unless they rush the passer, which they don't really have the talent to do. They're going to have trouble containing him, especially with the running backs that he has.
We'll get into more of the, X's and O's and thoughts on the Super Bowl next week when we meet.
Indeed.
Robert, actually, let me say this first. I just have to get it off my chest. But those poor Vikings who once again fall a step short.
Oh.
I hate to say it, they could be great for the next decade, but they're always going to look back and say, we could have been that one team to win a Super Bowl in our own stadium. And we laid an egg.
Well, let's give the Eagles some credit too,
I know, but this was
the Packer fan is having this moment.
Think of it. This was set up as the Vikings' year. They knock out their biggest rival. Well, they knock out their biggest rival's best player, so he's out of the picture. There was never going to be a road that was
your
more
quarterback. Let's be clear.
Whatever. There was never going to be a road that was this clear. And then at the end of the road was their own stadium, a chance to win in front of their own fans.
Well,
and they blew it.
Well, first of all, the Super Bowl is not their own fans. I mean, yeah, there would be a good number of Viking fans there, but it wouldn't be like a home game because the tickets are distributed for the corporate people and everything. So, I mean, that there would not be it wouldn't be like a Minnesota home game. Okay, it would be in their own stadium with a few.
It would be the closest a home game would ever be in the Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just the game. Right. It's the entire week leading up to the game of Vikings, because you don't need tickets to hang around the stadium all week and then be part of the celebration of football.
I'll tell you one thing. The hotel people and the restaurant people are thrilled that the Vikings didn't make it because they'd be taking a financial bath. Seriously, because you want people from outside your area coming to the game and spending money. If you're at home, you're not going to be spending as much money.
So I've made my peace with it.
All right.
Robert, you wanted to, since there is, as we said, no real games this week, you wanted to talk some NFL awards.
Indeed, yeah. I thought we could break it down, pick out the 5 main categories: MVP, offensive and defensive players of the year, coach of the year, which Chris and I have debated for the better half of 2 months now, and rookie of the year, of course. So yeah, thought it'd be worthy of discussion.
Well, let's work our way backwards. So let's start with, we'll end on MVP. Let's start with Coach of the Year.
My favorite.
Robert, looks like you have a ballot here. I also have a little bit of a ballot.
I have nothing.
Shearer didn't do his homework.
I just have nothing.
He has Adam Gase in this category.
No,
folks.
I do not have Adam Gase.
Chris is shooting off the hip as he always is wont to do.
Hey, the gut's never wrong. Am I right, Chris?
It's right more times than wrong.
There it
yeah.
is.
It's not perfect.
But yeah, starting with Coach of the Year, I had Doug Peterson and Sean McVay in the conversation, but ultimately went with Mike Zimmer. I think he did a great job with his team. As much as we've trashed the Vikings the last few minutes, he did a great job with his team. Leading them to 13-3 record, total turnaround, and with Case Keenum of all people at quarterback. The offense wasn't incompetent. It was actually very good. They were able to run the ball. They threw it with success.
Two great receivers.
Yeah. And then the defense, as it has been since Zimmer took over, has played pretty well. So they have a lot to build on there. And he missed out on this award a couple years ago. I think they gave it to the leader of the evil empire instead. So I think he is due this year.
Which evil empire?
Did it go to Rivera or Belichick a couple years ago? I can't remember.
Well, we'll get to Belichick in a second.
Yeah.
Chris, who's your coach of the year?
I think it's got to be Doug Peterson, former Dolphins backup quarterback Doug Peterson.
Glad you didn't say Saint Doug.
I look.
They're sharp.
I mean, if we're going by the regular season, you can make your arguments for and against Peterson. But I think if you include the playoffs, like I said, here's a team that lost their starting quarterback late in the season, and they really have not skipped a beat.
And you got to keep in mind this is for regular season only. So
I would
still say Doug Peterson's a good choice.
I think Sean McVay deserves some love. I think St. Doug Marrone deserves some love.
Fake news.
And like I said, Peterson. I think those three guys are clearly the best. Mike Zimmer. Look, he's done a great job with the Vikings, but that team was a competitor last year. It wasn't much of a shock they were this good this year. And you could say, and I know you'll say it, that if the Packers had Aaron Rodgers healthy the whole year, maybe the Vikings don't win that division. So
I don't know, Chris. I don't know. I think the Vikings might still win it. Honestly,
maybe not.
I think they had a better
defense.
Team.
Absolutely, they had a better defense, obviously. But irregardless, I think that you could go with either one of those three guys, and those are suitable picks. And you can't argue against if any of those three guys win. I don't think you can really argue against it. Like they're all pretty darn close. They've all done amazing jobs.
So I had my top three. Number 3, Mike Zimmer.
Ooh.
Number 2, Sean McVay. And my winner of the Coach of the Year award.
I know where this is going.
Yeah, Chris knows because I told him last night.
Yeah.
And this will answer your question, Robert. No, Bill Belichick did not win Coach of the Year 2 years ago because he's never won Coach of the Year.
Never?
Arguably the greatest coach of all time has never won.
I'm looking this up. But you can continue.
What does the guy got to do? So yes, Bill Belichick is my pick for Coach of the Year.
Wow. What a brown noser. Is this real? I'm checking this.
I'm pretty sure.
Fact check. Now, do you go by AP Coach of the Year?
Whatever the main coach of the year.
That is the standard, I believe.
Yeah,
Am I wrong,
That's
Chris?
the one they give out at the awards ceremony.
He has won it 3 times.
When?
2010, 2007,
that's garbage.
and 2003.
You know what? Fine. I rescind my vote for Belichick. Are you serious? I could have swore I heard that he's never won it.
No, he's won it multiple times.
Oh, come on. All right.
But I was wrong in saying that it was Belichick a couple years ago. It was Ron Rivera who won, which, I guess I can see that. But, considering this award was won by Jason Garrett last year, what do we know?
Wow. I have to listen back to. I was listening to something that was going on and on about how Belichick's never won.
Yeah. No, he's won. So who's your new number 1?
McVay, give it to the guy. Come on.
I like it. He's also deserving.
This is a fun year for Coach of the Year because you really have a lot of great candidates. We pick 3 different guys. And I think all of them are deserving.
Yeah. One guy, and I'm not just saying this because I trust the process. But Sean McDermott does deserve a little credit here. I'm not saying that he's going to get in the top 3 or even win it, but I think he will get some votes when the ballots come out.
I said he should also be in the conversation, and Chris, when I was talking to him about it, quickly shot that down.
Dolphin bias. Don't listen to him. Even though I thought that Adam Gase was a contender for Coach of the Year last year, leading his beloved Dolphins to the playoffs for the first time in Lord knows how long. But I thought he was more deserving than Jason Garrett.
So no Belichick.
Let me just say that for the record.
So no Belichick.
Wow.
Chris, if you're going to bring Star Wars themes into the NFL podcast, I just want you to know that I support it every time. As long as said theme is from the original trilogy, not this garbage trilogy that we're in the middle of.
We have that's for another podcast.
That's for the Citizen Entertainment podcast, which currently doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I have to call on David Wilcox to run that one.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next award. Rookie of the Year.
Yes, another tough one. I had Tre'Davious White 3, Kareem Hunt 2, Chiefs running back who led the league in rushing, but my number 1 was Alvin Kamara. And I say that because he was a dual threat, a real boost to the Saints offense. You could argue that he really made the difference for Drew Brees this year because it not only provided another weapon for the Saints out of the backfield, but another receiving option for them. And, the two-headed monster, Ingram and Kamara, really made a difference for them. So he is my choice for Rookie of the Year.
I would say I like Leonard Fournette.
Wow.
Camara's a good choice, too. But I think Fournette did a great job of transforming the Jaguars' offense. I mean, they didn't really have anything last year, and now all of a sudden they're respectable. And I think that's really one of the biggest reasons why Blake Bortles was actually a passable NFL quarterback this season. So I go Fournette.
All right, I went Marshawn Lattimore number 3 because he's the actual best rookie cornerback.
Boo, fake news.
Yeah, okay,
Fake news.
okay. I went Kareem Hunt number 2, and then Alvin Kamara number 1. Yeah, I just thought Kamara, 6.1 yards per attempt, led the NFL in all-purpose yards. On a per-play basis, whenever you put the ball in that guy's hands, he was making something happen. I think Kareem Hunt, he led the league in rushing. He had a great first 5 weeks of the season, and then he
fell off a cliff.
Yeah, he went 7 weeks without rushing for 100 yards.
Yeah.
So that's almost half the season right there. I think part of that is just because Andy Reid stopped giving him the ball.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's a long time to kind of be average.
Yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, this one I had a few Jaguars in mind for, but number 3 I had Jalen Ramsey, arguably the top corner in the game these days. Number 2, Chandler Jones, who while playing for the Cardinals had a pretty good year as a pass rusher, one of the best pass rushers in the league, really. But my number 1, Calais Campbell, really turned that defensive line. It was good before, but what he was able to do this year, he was just a monster inside for them, for the Jaguars, and really a big part of that team's success and that defense's success this year.
I was going to say Ndamukong Suh, but I know that you guys would laugh at that. But I think Calais Campbell's a very good choice.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't think there was really a defender who just really stood out as like, hey, this guy's a dominant defender. And there were some very good ones, but I don't think anybody really stood out as like the preeminent defensive player in the NFL. So Calais Campbell's my choice.
I didn't write down a bell for this because...
You only needed 1?
Come on. Aaron Donald is the best defensive player in the NFL. Come on. Just because the guy plays, basically nose tackle, right, he's not going to rack up the sacks. But we all know he's the best defensive player. I kind of look at it, I think a couple of years ago, Luke Kuechly won Defensive Player of the Year, and he didn't have the most fancy stats. He didn't have double-digit sacks and 10 interceptions or anything like that. But we all kind of knew, like, okay, this was the best defensive player we saw this year. So I kind of apply that logic to Aaron Donald, who, statistically the Rams they were around the top 10. They weren't a dominant, like, Jaguars-esque defense, but I just think he's the best player.
He's a great player, no doubt.
Offensive Player of the Year.
Ooh, a tough one. I gave some love to Carson Wentz at 3 here. I thought that while he was healthy, he was the best quarterback in the league this year. Number 2, Todd Gurley. And number 1, showing my love for Antonio Brown, who had a phenomenal season. He did go down with injury, missed the last couple weeks there. But, this guy, some of these awards don't show enough love to wide receivers, I think, but he is clearly the best wide receiver of his generation. And, the catches that he makes, and his versatility as a deep threat over the middle, no matter what, he isn't limited. And, he's easily the best pass catcher of our time. So it's been fun to watch, and he was my pick for top offensive player.
I like Gurley. I think he made a huge difference for the Rams this year. But like you said, Antonio Brown, some of the catches he made, they're absolutely sick. The catches he made in the AFC playoff game against the Jaguars, those were just incredible. Like a man amongst boys. So I guess if you had to split it, I would say Gurley Brown.
Yeah, I try to, for this one, I try to leave. I don't put quarterbacks on here unless they just have like one of those ridiculous, record-breaking touchdown passing seasons.
Right.
Because let's be honest, I don't agree with it, but the MVP is basically the best quarterback award.
Yeah,
so
typically.
So I have Kareem Hunt number 3. I have Antonio Brown number 2, and Todd Gurley's my choice. Led the league in rushing touchdowns. Also had almost 800 yards receiving. Led the NFL in yards from scrimmage. I think you could go either way with him or Brown. I think you got to, unfortunately, knock Brown down a peg because he did miss a few games. So maybe if he plays the full season, maybe he's the pick. But I went with Gurley. To the most prestigious award.
Indeed.
An individual award of the NFL season. The most valuable player.
Indeed. I actually had the same 3 players, but not in the same order for this one. I had Brown 3, Wentz 2. Wentz was going to be my MVP until he went down. I thought the difference that he made for the Eagles, of course, now that Nick Foles is playing well, hindsight's 20/20, but he just had an outstanding season, and that team seemed unbeatable with him at the helm. But my MVP is Todd Gurley. The bounce back season that he had, and just the spark he provided with that offense, as a dual threat. We were talking about Alvin Kamara just a little while ago, but Gurley was a real kind of security blanket for Jared Goff this year. In the passing game, he was an option, and easily one of the Rams' best receivers. And of course, what he was able to do running the ball too, just made that offense under Sean McVay's leadership one of the most dynamic in the league. So. I think it's going to be a tough MVP race, but I really like what Gurley did this year, his whole body of work, the touchdowns, the all-purpose yards. To me, that's an MVP caliber season.
Antonio Brown. I think he's the best player at his position. And if you talk about MVP, if you look what he means to the Steelers, the Steelers' offense would not be as proficient without him. So, Brown.
So neither of you guys mentioned the guy who's probably going to win.
What, Tom Brady?
Tom Brady.
Oh, please.
It's okay. I don't have Tom Brady winning either. No, I have Tom Brady 3rd on my ballot. I have Gurley number 2. I know this literally goes right against what I just said about Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
I have Wentz number 1. Okay.
Well, he played long enough. He didn't get hurt until late November, early December. So you could say he played.
I'm not a believer in attributing win losses to quarterbacks, but the Eagles were 11-2 until he got hurt. So there's still they were the best team in, I would say, the NFL when he got hurt. Mainly because, it's a great team, but they had a great quarterback who was having a great year. He still only finished, I think, 1 touchdown behind Russell Wilson for the NFL lead. He had 33, 101 passer rating. And I think what people forget about when they talk about, okay, what quarterback is the most valuable, well, some quarterbacks actually run the ball and rush for hundreds of yards, which Tom Brady does not do.
No.
Carson Wentz ran for almost 300 yards this year, and I think that's an important thing that people tend to forget about. So I would give it to him, and plus, just if you're looking at what people are going to remember about this season, aside from all the political stuff and kind of all the injuries to star players, but they're going to remember like the Philadelphia Eagles doing what they did and Carson Wentz becoming kind of the next great NFL quarterback. So I think that kind of storyline or narrative, I think it matters a little bit. So I gave it to Wentz. Guys, I figured we'd wrap up this week's edition with some fun Super Bowl prop bets.
Love a good prop bet.
Now some of these are legit like football related ones, but that wouldn't be any fun. We talked football for the past half hour. Let's have some fun.
Indeed.
Let's start off, and all these odds are from oddshark.com.
The authority on all things gambling.
Because when I think odds,
I think oddshark.com.
There we go.
Yeah. Everybody uses Bovada. Come on, we don't need them.
Where are they out of? Biloxi, Mississippi or something?
All right. Length of the national anthem. You got over 2 minutes, it's minus 140, and then under 2 minutes is even.
Oh, you got to take the over on that one.
Always the over.
Got to take
over
the
2.
over.
Usually about 2.5.
Yeah.
Who's doing the national anthem this year?
Well, that brings me to my next prop bet. The color of Pink's hair at the start of the national anthem.
This could easily be red, white, and blue. I mean, come on.
Well, that might be an issue because the most they have here for each odd is 2 different colors. So the favorite at plus 150 is pink/red.
Platinum.
Then we got white or blonde
white.
at plus 175. Mm-hmm. Brown or black at plus 400. Blue or purple at plus 500. And then green at plus 500.
What if she comes out with a shaved head? Then what?
She won't shave her head.
Get your money back? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Might have to go with white or blonde on that one.
I mean,
it's tough bet.
This is going to be her signature moment. Her name is Pink.
I'd have to look
Take
outside
the favorite.
I'd have to look outside of oddshark.com for his choices.
All right. Obviously, as we all know, or maybe we don't, I don't know how into pop culture Chris is, Justin Timberlake
Yes.
will be performing at halftime.
Who was formerly a member of?
The Mickey Mouse Club.
Oh, boy. Well, yeah, that too.
Well, he was.
You're technically not wrong.
No, I'm not wrong. Damn right I'm right. What?
Never mind.
In Sync.
Yes,
Formerly part of the cast of The Social Network.
Yeah.
And what's that movie? I think, is it with Natalie Portman? What's that movie he's in? No Strings Attached? I forget, because there was one that had, like, it was about, we'll try and keep it PG-13 here, but about hooking up with a friend.
Benefits.
Right.
Yeah, there was Friends with Benefits, and then there was No Strings Attached. And one of them had Justin Timberlake, and one of them had Ashton Kutcher, I think.
And I would know neither of those. I mean, I know who those guys are.
You knew the Mickey Mouse Club, but you don't know this.
Well, of course. Hey, HQ Trivia, that comes up tonight. You'll thank me.
I don't play that silly game.
Silly.
No, I stick to oddshark.com for my silliness.
The pride of Biloxi.
Anyway, back to the actual bet.
Yes.
As we all know, last time Justin Timberlake performed at halftime, there was just a smidge of controversy.
Just a little bit.
It was not PG-13.
No.
What happened there?
1.1 second for the record, by the way.
What's that?
How much nudity we saw at that moment. It was 1.1 second. And that was probably the longest 1.1 second I've ever witnessed.
So
It seemed like a lot longer than a second, okay? It went by pretty quick, but technically it was 1.1 second.
was that it was Patriots Panthers,
The
right?
wardrobe malfunction. Yeah, I believe that was Patriots and Panthers. Yeah.
Okay, so times Janet Jackson is mentioned during the broadcast.
Once.
What's the?
Well, who's going to be mentioning her?
We gotta hear the over under here.
Over 1.5 is even, and then under 1.5 minus 140. So under 1.5 is the favorite.
I'm going with the over on that one.
Yeah, over. People are going to keep talking about this.
Well, mentioned during the broadcast means that it either needs to be, the guys doing the pregame show, so Rodney Harrison or Tony Dungy or Dan Patrick.
Who?
Or it has to be Al Michaels or Chris Collins.
And this is an actual bet. I mean, you can actually bet this. This
Yes.
isn't a joke. This is an actual bet.
Actual bet.
So is someone going to be at the casino, like watching all of the pregame show, and then during the game, and then
Yes.
and writing it down like there's one. There's
Why
two.
have prop bets
That's
if you're
crazy.
not going to monitor
That's
it?
absolutely. That's insane. I'm sorry. That's ludicrous.
I call it gambling, but you call it.
Oh, I call it gambling too, but it's still ludicrous. I mean, there's just worse prop bets you could have. Better prop bets you should have. So, all right, go ahead, move on.
Well, I was just going to say, I think Al Michaels always likes to throw those little the gambling hints into the broadcast. I'm sure they're going to say, "Hey, Al, can you not mention Janet Jackson, please?" So I would take the under.
Or Harvey Weinstein.
Another sort of pop culture prop bet. How many times will the Rocky statue be shown during broadcast? So they can't mention Rocky. How many times will it be shown? Over 1, minus 150. Under 1, plus 110.
Yeah,
I take. Depends how the game goes. I think if the Eagles are winning, I think you get the over. If they're losing, then I think it's the under.
I think you get the over.
I think it's easily the over. The Rocky statue is like, in movies, when the movie is set in Brazil, and they always do that overhead shot of that Jesus statue.
Yes.
I forget what the actual name of that is. Sorry.
It's called the Big Jesus statue. No,
Yeah, we'll go with it.
no, it's not.
We'll go with that. The big
Christ
Jesus
the
statue.
Redeemer, I believe, is what the name of the statue.
But every time there's a movie in Brazil, they have to show the statue.
Right.
Well, that's like with
It's like
Philadelphia.
it's like showing the Eiffel Tower.
Anytime you do something with Philadelphia, you're going to have the Rocky statue. So I would take the over easily.
Yeah,
Indeed.
It's Christ the Redeemer.
Okay. I guess this one is sort of football, but said how many times is Janet Jackson mentioned? How many times is Carson Wentz mentioned during the broadcast? This one's higher. Over 3.5, minus 150. Under 3.5, plus 110.
Over easily.
Over. I mean, he's going to be on the sidelines. They're going to show him, especially if Foles doesn't do well. They're going to show Wentz.
Yeah.
So yeah, take the over.
How many times will Tom Brady's age be mentioned?
Take over.
Whatever
the over is, take it.
I could have said over 100, and you're
Over.
still taking the over.
Easily.
Over.
Oh
Okay.
my goodness.
Well, it's not over 100. It's only over 5. That's minus
easily.
1, minus 150. Under 5 is plus 110.
They'll mention 40 before the end of the first quarter.
Okay. Total passing attempts for Tom Brady. Over 37.5 is minus 125. This must be a typo.
Oh, you said over 37 attempts?
Over 37 passing attempts. Well, 37 and a half, so it has to be 38 to win the bet. Under 37 and a half plus 105.
Under.
You think under?
Yeah, under.
No way.
I have a stat that's going to disappoint you, Chris.
Because here's the thing. If he has to throw that many times, that means they're behind, okay? If they're winning, they're not going to be throwing the ball as much. They'll be running it.
Well, they'll be throwing the ball a
So,
lot.
well, that's what I mean. If we
Come
think
next
Philadelphia, if Philadelphia is in the lead, then yeah, but we'll see what happens. But for now, I take the under.
This is my stone cold lock
Wow.
bet. Take the over.
Absolutely.
Here are Tom Brady's passing attempt numbers in his previous 7 Super Bowls.
Poor guy.
So last year against Atlanta, 62 attempts.
Yeah.
Against Seattle, 50 attempts. Against in the second Giants Super Bowl, he had 41. In the first Giants Super Bowl, 48. First time he faced the Eagles, that was only 33. Against Carolina, 48. And against the Rams, 27. So 5 of the 7 he would have been over.
Well, remember those games though that the Patriots were behind in most of those games. I mean, we could get into a different thing with, the Patriots and how they have to come back to win these games. I mean, you think back to the majority of their Super Bowls, they've been in tight games, or they've been behind, and because of that, they've had to throw the ball a lot. So I think it kind of skews the numbers.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they just seem to have this philosophy that we're just going to abandon handing the ball off. Mm-hmm. They basically do those, pass the running backs, which turn into their pass attempts. They count, but they're basically extended handoffs. Yeah. So I think they just do a lot of that, and I think the Patriots are a bit of a stat chasing for Tom Brady. Super Bowl MVP odds. Can you guys guess who the favorite is here?
Brady and then
Carson
Foles.
Wentz. Wow.
Brady and Foles. Maybe Jay Ajayi.
Yeah, Tom Brady's the favorite at minus 125. Nick Foles next up at plus 325. Rob Gronkowski, who did not practice, or if they would have held practice,
he'll play.
He wouldn't have been.
It's
practicing.
the Super Bowl. He's playing.
Plus 850. Chris, as Robert would say, your boy, Jay Ajayi. He's plus 1800.
No Amendola? Come on, man. No
Amendola,
Edelman?
let's see.
Edelman's out. That's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Amendola's plus 1800 too.
Chris Hogan, former Buffalo Bill.
Plus 5,000. So
the field.
Newly acquired Patriot James Harrison.
That's funny.
Plus 10,000.
You think he's laughing? You think he's really? I mean, he's got to be like, yeah, Pittsburgh, I showed you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's pretty. I think if the Patriots win, they're gonna give it to Brady. Mm-hmm. That's just how it goes. He probably shouldn't have won it last year. Like James White had 3 touchdowns, including the game-winning touchdown. I think if the Eagles win, it won't necessarily go to Nick Foles. I could see a bunch of different guys getting there. So, would you guys both take Brady?
Yeah, if I had it.
Yeah. Easily.
All right.
Easily.
That's it for the prop bets.
Bet the house on it. Bet Shearer's house on it. Worth more than my house, tell you that.
Well, Robert is as unfortunately as I know since we live in the same building. Yeah.
His house is probably worth more than our building, I'll tell you that.
I don't know. I don't appraise.
I'm not gonna say where we live on the podcast.
I'm grateful for I'm grateful to have a house. So let's just put it that way.
Let's just say some of us have lakefront property.
All right.
The rest of us don't.
All right. Jeez. All right.
Well, I mean,
let's wrap it up, guys.
We could have lakefront property. Yeah. I mean, the way it rains and the puddles in our parking lot, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
All right. Anything you guys want to wrap up with? Any Pro Bowl thoughts?
No, none. Let's move on.
Pro Bowl MVP pick?
Who cares?
Mine is Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, there we go. That would be it, wouldn't it?
All right. We'll be back next week to discuss Super Bowl 52, not the 2018 Super Bowl AP.
Yeah, no kidding.
For Robert Harding and Chris Sciria, this is Justin Ritzel. This has been another edition of the Citizen NFL Podcast. We'll catch you next week.